You're watching the Capital Forum on Fox 5 Plus WDCA. Let's push off with KDW, which stands for Khan's Digital World. The mastermind, the genius behind this segment is our world famous Dr. Badrul Khan. Stay tuned. I'm Nilima Mehra, the executive producer of Global Television Networks on Fox 5 Plus in Washington, D.C. You're watching KDW, Khan's Digital World. Founder, Dr. Badrul Khan. This is KDW Webinar Tidbits featuring Dr. Badrul Khan's participation in international webinars dealing with digital transformational issues. This is KDW Webinar Tidbits.
Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie Loraldo, Director of Graduate Recruitment and Outreach. On behalf of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley and the Graduate College, I'd like to welcome and thank you for joining us for this very exciting Facebook Live event where we will be hearing from our distinguished guests in just a few minutes over the topic of microlearning in the digital age. Today's webinar will be moderated by Drs. René and Maria Elena Corbet. Dr. Joseph René Corbet has been 37 years teaching experience in public and higher education. He is a professor of educational technology and is the program coordinator for the Master of Education. Dr. Maria Elena Corbet has 18 years of online teaching experience in higher education and adult education. She is a professor of educational technology who teaches online accelerated courses for the Master of Education in Educational Technology and coordinates 2 fully online undergraduate EdTech minors. In 2019, Drs. René and Maria Elena co-edited an award-winning book by Dr. Badrul Khan titled Responsible Analytics and Data Mining in Education, which won 2 outstanding book awards from the Association of Educational Communications and Technology. They are currently collaborating with Dr. Khan on a 3rd edited book titled Microlearning in the Digital Age, the Design and Delivery of Learning in Snippets, which is scheduled for release in April or May of this year.
According to a recent report by the Association for Talent Development, microlearning is one of the most widely discussed and deep debated trends in the learning industry today. In this webinar, guest panelists Dr. Badrul Khan and Dr. Carl Kopp will examine the recent phenomenon of microlearning happening in education, professional development, corporate training, and personalized learning.
We're very excited to have Dr. Carl Kopp with us today. He's an award-winning professor of instructional technology at Bloomsburg University in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, where he teaches instructional game design, gamification, and online learning design. His latest co-authored book with Robin DeFelice is Microlearning, Short and Sweet. We also thank Dr. Kopp for writing the foreword to our book.
Dr. Badrul Khan is a world-renowned author, speaker, and consultant in the fields of e-learning and educational technology, and is recognized as one of the foremost leaders in open and distance education around the world. He is credited with coining the term web-based instruction and popularizing the concept through his 1997 best-selling book of the same name, which paved the way for the new field of e-learning.
Dr. Kopp, we've been hearing a lot about microlearning lately. Is it a new phenomenon?
I remember back in the early 2000s, an organization called the Advanced Distributed Laboratories, a quasi-government organization, had this thing called SCOs or SCOs, Shareable Content Objects. So way back then, people were talking about small learning or chunks of learning or elements of learning, not the whole thing. So that's probably where it first came on my radar, and I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. But I kind of filed it away in the back of my mind for a while because it was at that point still a little impractical. So we didn't really have learning from everywhere. We didn't have our mobile devices that we could just download something. The internet was not ubiquitous. So then fast forward several decades, actually, or a decade or so, or it all blurs together. But now we've got the ability to bring learning right to our mobile devices with more power in this device than we sent people to the moon. So now we can provide learning in all kinds of ways in short, effective bits. Nobody's going to watch, 4 hours of instruction on a phone, but they will watch 5 minutes or a small snippet of information. So that's really kind of where my interest grew. And then my work through gamification really brought me to think about microlearning more deeply, because gamification is the element of motivation.
Dr. Khan, in the book, you compare microlearning objects to single droplets of water, where each droplet represents a bite-sized, single objective unit of instruction that can stand alone or contribute to a larger enterprise. You explain that just as the ocean is comprised of an infinite number of single drops of water, each droplet has the same properties as the vast ocean. So in creating small units of instruction, we need to take into consideration the larger learning enterprise from which they come and apply some common standards in their development. Can you elaborate on how your e-learning framework can be used to design, develop, evaluate, and implement effective microlearning snippets with appropriate instructional strategies and delivery methods?
Okay, there's a good loaded question. I hope my answer is shorter than your question. Okay, microlearning as I defined, microlearning must be interactive, device independent, usable and accessible, single objective focused, short duration, retention boosting or just in time, independent but part of the whole, and has to be cost effective. That is microlearning.